It's been 25 years since the Rwandan genocide that saw 800,000 people slaughtered. April 7th marks the start of Rwanda's most violent 100 days. Hutu extremists massacred the Tutsi minority with machetes in hand. Radio stations and newspapers broadcast hate propaganda, urging people to weed out the cockroaches. The 1994 Rwandan genocide is considered the hallmark example of violence that was ignored by the international community. Carleton professor Alan Thompson reported on Rwanda's aftermath extensively.
Well, the problem is we don't cover countries like Rwanda. We didn't do it then in '94, and we don't do it now. The fog of war made it very difficult for the journalists who were on the ground to understand exactly what they were seeing. And it literally took a few weeks or longer before anyone called it what it really was, and that was genocide.
The United Nations and Belgium had forces in Rwanda, but the UN mission was not given a mandate to intervene. Canada led the UN peacekeeping mission at the time.
We just have not established that criteria that all humans count, and not just the ones that meet our self-interest.
In the aftermath of the genocide, blame was cast not only on governments for the lack of international intervention, but also on the lack of media coverage. But have we learned anything since then?
25 years later, I'm not convinced that we're doing any better job of helping people to understand what's happening in complex environments like Rwanda. If Rwanda were to unfold today, I'm just not convinced that we would do any better as journalists.
That's why Thompson believes training local journalists on the ground is crucial in making sure atrocities that are happening in South Sudan, Central African Republic, or Myanmar, for example, are at the forefront of our attention.
So we need to figure out a new model for how we cover places like Rwanda. And I think part of that is cultivating talented journalists on the ground who can be our eyes and ears and can help us to keep track of what's happening in places around the world that are just outside of our direct experience.